Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, first of all, for attending tonight. I see a lot of names on this list that we've seen for the last couple months, and I love that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are liking these and popping back in kind of month after month, so I appreciate that. For any newcomers, if you're not sure how this whole thing works, I do monitor the little questions area of your GoToWebinar dashboard. So if you have any questions for Zeke as this goes on, please feel free to pop them right there on that questions chart. That's probably the best way for me to get those questions. And then I'll also kind of keep an eye out if you have longer questions or something maybe off topic that you'd like to pick up on a different webinar. Shoot those over via email to webinar, webinar, at sdi.edu, or my personal email is Jennifer, Jennifer, at sdi.edu. So I can hear, Zeke, I think I can hear you. Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
You can hear me.
Okay, so.
And I'm even going to let people see me, too, for a second.
No. Oh, that's nice.
A lot of times I get people asking me why I grow a beard, and it's strictly marketing. So I can take a little Velcro patch, and I've got a mobile billboard.
A little, walking billboard. Nice.
Exactly. So I apologize to all the people that don't get to see that.
I know.
It's not even working.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, all you people who are here tonight, we have, I think people who were here last month know that we had a little bit of a problem recording the actual video. So this month we're going to do, Zeke is going to show us his beautiful face this whole time, but I'm not recording it. So you guys get a little extra perk for being live with us tonight. You get to see him. Everybody else will get the audio and the
actually now that I realize you're not on there and I'm not seeing anybody else and I'm just staring at myself, I may turn it off.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a little awkward.
Does Zeke keep his webcam on? Oh no!
Well, I'm looking at the
Sorry.
I'm looking at the picture on the first slide, and I didn't realize that when I rocked the Flow Hawk, that it matched my beard, kind of being pointy on the bottom side.
Oh, that's kind of true. Yeah, you look almost the same upside down as you do right side up.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, we did get a couple votes for keeping the camera on, so. Well, let's get rolling. I'm going to move this camera. Now, guys, while you're looking at the camera, and again, this is in case this is your first time here, you can move that camera around, make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want. It's not going to be on the actual recording that we're going to post to YouTube, and I do promise we will post this link like we do post all the other ones on the YouTube account, and then also I'll go ahead and post that link to Facebook. So without further ado, as we always start, as you guys know, we have a lot of people on this list for this month that are coming from different places and may not be totally aware of what SDI is and what the school does and what we offer. So I like to go over just kind of what our offerings are. Oh no! And that type of thing before we get rolling. So SDI has been around for a long time. We're an at-home school, an online college for firearms technology, and kind of specialize in gunsmithing, and are one of the only accredited online gunsmithing and firearms technology colleges in the nation. We offer a couple different programs, and I'll highlight a couple things. And if you do have additional questions, down there at the bottom, you'll see the admissions at sdi.edu webpage or email account. I do certainly recommend either giving them a call with that 844 number there, or go ahead and shoot them an email at admissions@sdi.edu. They've got all the details for you. They can even help you if you're military guys. They can help you with that VATA benefit process as well. So our main program is the Associate of Science in Firearms Technology degree. It's a 60 credit hour course. You'll go over everything. You'll get a build. You'll get things like shooting sports management, learn how to own and operate a firearms business. And there are also 15 credits worth of general education as well to kind of round that out. Now we do accept transfer credit. So if you have questions on that, again, the admissions team is the best team to answer questions about that. And they can get you rolling. We do have to obviously look at your transcripts and everything, but we can take a look at that. Now, the Associate of Science in Firearms Technology degree program is approved for use of TA and VA benefits, and also, as of the last couple months here, federal student aid. So if before this was a time where you couldn't financially make this happen, you may want to pop in again and see if there's anything that might work for you now. Again, based on, of course, based on eligibility and all that good stuff. And that's the only program that we are approved to participate in that in FSA with. So Advanced Gunsmithing Certificate is another one of our programs that's approved for use of VA and TA benefits. You get a well-rounded education there with everything from gunsmithing techniques to setting up business to FFL. So that's another very robust program for us. And then we've got the Ballistics and Reloading Certificate, non-credit, very focused on ballistics, and it comes with a Hornady lock and load press as well. And then our 3 armor courses, AR-15, AR-10, 1911 advanced armor courses. You can take those as either standalone programs for 5 credits, or you can take them as your capstone program or course rather in the Advanced Gunsmithing Certificate program or the Associate of Science in Firearms Technology degree program. So again, any questions, shoot them over to me, webinar, admissions, whomever, we're all part of the same team. We'd be happy to help you out and answer any questions. So without further ado, Zeke, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, why you're such an awesome guy, and we'll go from there.
That's just weird, like seeing my face.
I know.
I thought you were joking with me earlier.
No. You better get used to this because the entire slideshow is just pictures of you. So if you feel the need to explain yourself in any of these.
Oh, no. Why am I scared now? Okay. Let me talk a little bit about my background in business and kind of where I went from college on. I got my degree in sports medicine and biology, and people are now asking, why is he teaching a webinar on marketing? But as soon as I got out of college, I became the clinical director for the largest general practice in Middle Tennessee. And one of the big things that he wanted me to do was to build his clinic and his patient base. So I had to do a lot of marketing there, and that's where I learned kind of my base knowledge, the dartboard method, for lack of a better term, which we'll talk about later. From there, I went into the sales side of the medical field and got burnt out real quick because when you go from being on the clinical side to being on the sales side, you're going into doctors who used to assist on surgeries with, and you're telling them what to prescribe and what to, have their patients use, and it just feels kind of weird. Went into the hospital side of the medical sales and was on call every other week and got burnt out. So I had a good friend of mine who I went to high school with who owns a corporation here in Nashville that has 11 car lots, 2 Latin radio stations, a finance company, a body shop, and a media production company. So I walked into his office after I'd been up 36 hours straight doing the medical sales, and because I was on call every other week. That was not fun. Gave him my resume and said, what can I do? So he brought me on board, and within a month I was the chief administrative officer, which a lot of that had to do with the marketing side. And this guy is a guy that when we went to high school together, his dad had a little, 5-car lot, and he's built it into an empire in the matter of 20 years. So I learned a lot of marketing from him. Basically, I took some courses online on marketing to kind of brush up to compare with him, but then a lot of the stuff I learned from him was just by the process of being there and working there. Then from there, because we had 2 radio stations, I'd always had a passion for firearms. I grew up around them and with them and, hunting and stuff like that, but I was never into them. And then about, I guess it'd be 7, 8 years ago, oh, great, there's another picture of me. About 7 or 8 years ago, I really got into firearms. Now that picture looks nothing like me, but we'll go back. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I really got into firearms, started collecting and everything else. And I thought, well, we own 2 radio stations. Let me start a podcast because I started to see something in our industry that bothered me. A lot of the marketing was just complacent. For, years and years and years, Guns and Ammo, all the print media, Outdoor Channel, Sportsman Channel, that's what worked. Well, nobody was really evolving with the new media and the way people were reacting. So I thought, okay, I could start a podcast, entertain people through the podcast, but at the same time, try to make some changes on the business side and the marketing side of the firearms industry. And SDI became one of the sponsors, and then I had an opportunity to become the chair of the school, which going from having a little podcast, which I say little, we were in 117 countries, had 100,000 followers, but having that little platform to make change in the industry, to getting an education platform to be able to make a change. And there's no better way to make a change than that. So all that story leads me to where we are today and how we're growing SDI.
Cool.
No.
What? Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so why don't we dive in then?
Sure.
You sent me a couple topics, and let's just kind of start from the beginning, and I'll make sure. And again, guys, if you guys do have questions, shoot them over to me in that questions area. And Zeke, I hope you don't mind. I'll just pop in and kind of tap you on the shoulder and let you know when people ask stuff. So
just yell at me.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to talk, before we got into the nitty-gritty of marketing, I wanted to talk about the principles of business. And there's an old philosophy out there that a lot of the new people on like the business shows are starting to use, and it's just the three P method, and that's your people, your processes, and your product. If you have those three properly, and then you know your numbers, which I always like to throw the in because your numbers are important, not just in your profit and loss, not just in all the other business aspects, you know, depreciating assets, we won't go into all that, but also in your analytics for the marketing, which we'll go in depth with in a little bit. But of course your people, that's self-explanatory. That's you, that's any of your employees. You have to make sure that they're good. They're good at what they do, whatever their role is, that you're good at putting them in the right role. So when you have your people in place, then you go to your processes. Your processes are your manufacturing. In this situation with gunsmithing, it's your repairs. How do you lay out that process? It also is the marketing, which we're going to talk about tonight. That's one of the processes in business. And then your product. Gunsmithing, it's what your finished product is. If you're checkering, if you're customizing, if you're repairing, whatever that is, that's your product. If you have those three things, and then you know your numbers, you'll have a successful business. It's that simple. And a lot of people get way too in depth with all these other philosophies. People, process, product, and numbers. You get that down, you'll have it good. Now, everything that we learned tonight in the marketing side, it's not going to matter in your business. You can be the king marketer of the entire firearms industry, but if your product and your people aren't good, you're not going to go anywhere. Because eventually everybody may know you because of all your marketing, but if what you're putting out there is garbage, people's guns are blowing up on them and they're falling apart when they get them back from you, it's not going to work out. So what does that mean? Be good at what you do. So everything you learn, if you're already a gunsmith, if you're already in the industry, or if you're learning from us currently, make sure you dive in head first. Learn everything you can possibly learn. Absorb every chance you can. If there's conventions you can go to and learn more, go to them, learn those. Because if you become the top gunsmith you could possibly be, and you combine it with the marketing stuff you'll learn tonight, nothing's going to be able to stop you. So there's principles in marketing too. The number one principle in all of it is have fun with it. Now, am I saying marketing is always going to be fun? Absolutely not, because there's a lot of ups and downs in marketing. There's a lot you got to do in marketing. But you have to have fun with it, because if you don't, people are going to get it. If Jennifer and I weren't sitting here joking with each other and we're just like, okay, so tonight we're going to talk about marketing.
Right.
And I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner later because I haven't eaten. People are going to read that. They're going to get it. They're going to go like, okay, this guy's miserable. I don't want to hear anything he has to say. So have fun with it. There's some P's. There's a little trend here. So know your P's in marketing too. So the product, your price, and the promotion. Know your product. Gunsmithing, it's for how you can repair, what you can repair, what different things you can do. If you're great at checkering, market to that. Make sure people know it. Then there's target market variables. And what that means is your demographic. And for those of you that don't know what the demographic is, that's the group of people that you are marketing to. So in the firearms industry, we're not marketing to moms been in action. It's not happening. We're marketing to people that enjoy and love and have a passion for firearms. And that demographic is very broad in the United States, which is really good. So that market variables, all those market variables can be age, they can be education level, they can be where you live, your gender, national origin, your lifestyle, your income, did I say race, religion? And okay, race, your religion, and then where you live. Any of those variables can play into who you're going to market to. So once you figure out what target audience you have based on those variables, then you're going to be good to go on marketing to those people. Now, back to the analytics that I was talking about. There's a lot of common misconceptions in the marketing world. Marketing can come off as glamorous to some people, and they think, oh, wow, this is going to be an awesome job, and then they claim to be a marketer. And really, they're not. They're good at taking pictures. They're good at throwing up billboards, but they're not good at getting and grasping what their demographic reacts to. And that's the biggest key. And this is kind of where marketing companies out there are going to hate me, because I'm going to talk about all the analytics. Impressions. Impressions is, and help me with this, Jennifer. Basically what an impression is you're a unique person, has not heard anything about you. Go on, we'll use Facebook, for example. And they see an ad about SDI. Well, you just got an impression. Could be positive, could be negative, but you made an impression.
Impressions are eyes on an ad or eyes on a, yep. It's basically, if anybody lays eyes on something, that's what that is. So that's an impression.
And like I said, it could be positive, could be negative. So impressions, you need to know them, but don't put a lot of weight on them. Then you have the views. The views is where actually you get that impression, and then they're like, oh, wow, I see a gun in the corner. I'm going to look at it and say, okay, I'm actually getting a view on this. So people go to add a video, a podcast, or whatever you have, or even a classified ad, and they read what you're doing. That's a technical view. Then you have your click-throughs. This is more web-based. So if you have something on the internet and you have that ad, it pops up in their feed. Okay, there's your impression. They look at it. There's your view. Then they click it, and it goes to your website. That's a click-through. So that's another important analytic. Here's where people will really start to hate me. Circulation and ratings. Circulation is a term used by print media, and that also includes any of their stacks of magazines they have at conventions that are just laying in stacks hoping that people will pick them up and reading them. It doesn't necessarily mean how many people are actually going to read your ad. So when you hear we have 500,000 in circulation with our magazine, don't fall hook, line, and sinker for that one, because you got to remember that's their giveaway magazines too. That's not, I mean, subscribers is probably a fraction of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about print media here in a little bit too. I won't go too in depth now. Ratings is another one that's kind of big. I have a radio show here locally in Nashville, and we have ratings. And I hate to say this, but oh gosh, you put the Viking picture up.
Oh, there it is.
I accidentally showed her that picture. Nice. So anyways, so you have ratings, and they're based upon, it's how many people are listening. But there's a formula to it. There's a CUME formula and a lot of other things I won't go into. But if somebody says our ratings are, 10,000 peoples a day, that could be peoples a days. Wow, I can't talk. I went to kiss you. Anyways. So we have 10,000 people listening to our show every time it airs. Well, yes and no. It actually could be more. It could be less. Not all of the ratings are each radio that's tuned into you at a time. It's based on a percentage around a little block of space of where they actually have the signal being trapped by their software little gatherer things. I know that's not the technical term, but I can't think about it right now. So why am I saying don't die by these things? Because you can go out and you can spend $100,000 and get 2 million impressions. You can get 1.5 million views. You can get 500,000 click-throughs. But you don't know how much you made because of that, it's not going to get you anywhere. Know your numbers, know the analytics, but don't die by them. Know the bottom line at the end of the day, because you will have, if you outsource to a marketing company, for instance, you'll have them coming to you with all of these analytics. You want to be able to ask, okay, I spent $10. What did I make because of that $10? So know your return on investment, your ROI. You're going to hear ROI all through business. That's return on investment. So if you invest $10, make sure you're getting at least 20 or more back. Excuse me. I'm going to drink water. Nobody make fun of my Alabama cup.
Oh, no. I'm sure we'll get some squawks pouring in here.
So I was talking, actually, we'll get my 1911 that I made in my armorer's course. Made that myself. It's awesome.
Look at that.
Sorry for the people who are watching this recorded. You didn't get to see it. But anyways. So earlier I talked about it being fun and make sure you have fun. There is a lot of tough stuff when it comes to marketing. There's a lot of balancing, a lot of plates, as Jennifer and I can both attest to. Mm-hmm. And all of you watching this may know or may not know, we have a lot of outlets and a lot of media partners that we are sponsored with or we're doing things through and we're advertising through. So you have to know where all that money is being spent and what the return is on all that. We have reports every month showing what our return on investment is. You got to know all that stuff. And the part of it that sometimes is not so fun is you may, we'll use YouTube for example here. I may spend $10 with the 22 Plinkster channel. Actually, I'll make fun of him. I may spend $10 with the Military Arms channel and get a return of $20,000, which is an awesome return. And then I may go, okay, well now I'm going to go to the 22 Plinkster channel and I'm going to spend $10 there. But then nothing happens, and then nothing happens, and then nothing happens. And you, oh my God, can you turn that picture? Let's get rid of that one. Wow. Am I like dancing a jig or something there?
It did kind of look like that. It did.
Whew, thank God. So anyways, I totally don't know what I was saying. Oh, $10 with 22 Plinkster, nothing continues to happen. In marketing, that happens. You have your hits and you have your misses. And that's the frustrating part. It's almost like gambling in a way and investing. Now, not just like it, because once you get your pace down and once you figure out your demographic, it's not as much gambling. But in the beginning, it is. You may advertise with one magazine and your profits double that month. And then you go to its sister magazine that's under the same publishing group and you lost money because you didn't get anything off of it. So that's the part you have to be prepared for too. And that's the dartboard method that I was talking about too. Is the dartboard method is when you're starting a business, when you're starting out in the marketing world, a lot of people say the dartboard method. What you do is you take a handful of darts and you just throw them at the board. Whatever sticks, you continue to invest money on. That's pretty much the most simplistic way to put it. So if we threw money at 20 YouTube channels and 10 are giving us a good ROI, those are the ones we're going to continue to invest with. Now, if we have good relationships with the other ones and we're not spending a whole lot, we may stick with them just because our name is getting out there, the word is getting out there. But if there's no return, there's no business sense in continuing to throw money at it. And sometimes you need to know your sales cycle too. In the school business, it's not really a sales cycle. It's similar, but it's not, because you're not selling. You're technically enrolling people in school to make a difference in their lives. But what you'll be doing as a gunsmith, or if you open a gun shop or anything, is sell. So you got to know, if I invest X with Y media outlet, whether it's a billboard, YouTube, TV, radio, anything, I know that in Z months, I will see a good ROI. That takes a while to build up. With the firearms industry, what I've noticed, and I've only been doing marketing on this side for, if you include Talking Lead, 4 years now, but I've started to realize there is about a 6 to 8 month turnaround. Hickok 45, we'll use him as an example. We started sponsoring him back in, was it July, Jennifer?
I think so.
July or August?
Last summer. Mm-hmm.
Right, and we saw trickling, a few people here, a few people there that had heard of us through Hickok 45. Now it's just exploded. And so that's what I'm talking about. We started in July, 6 to 8 months later, it's starting to hit pretty hard. So it's a matter of knowing that sales cycle, knowing that cycle of how long it takes for someone, for all those impressions, all those analytics that we just talked about, for all of those to start to absorb into people's heads to where, you watch TV, you see a soap commercial, and how long did it take you of seeing a Gain laundry detergent commercial before you're at the store and you're out of laundry detergent and you go, hey, Gain, okay, I'm going to try that out. So knowing that cycle is really important.
I'm going to jump in here. I've had a couple questions.
Thank you, because I need water.
Okay. So I'm thinking we may need to scale this down a little bit.
No! Okay, yes.
Well, tell me, let's talk a little bit about the guy who's, let's say graduating from SDI and starting a gunsmithing shop.
Yep.
Obviously these people aren't going to have the same type of budget as SDI, the school, has. So help me, some people are asking about, would it be better to start the business by word of mouth with a few business cards, advertising in the local paper? How do you find demographics? So let's kind of parcel those things out and give it from the bottom up. If you're starting a shop or a business from the first time, what are some really important things to start with?
I was getting to that.
Oh, come on. I mean, someday.
Well, it's like I'm trying to wrap it a comprehensive marketing course into 1 hour, but we can get into all that.
I know.
So if you're just starting out, if you have just graduated, you've got your FFL, you've set up a shop, or maybe you're just starting off in your garage, your first thing is word of mouth. Like I said before, get good at what you do, put all your effort into learning everything you can, and then make sure when you take care of your customers, you take care of them right. Because the first thing in any marketing is word of mouth. If you do something right, that person's going to tell 10, 12 people. You do something wrong, they're going to tell everyone they know.
Yep.
There's your first step in marketing. Know your stuff, do it right, and treat your customers good. There's a trend right now in the firearms industry where you walk into a gun shop and they kind of have a snottiness to them. Don't do that. Learn what customer service is and be good. How many times have you been on the phone with somebody and the customer service is horrible? So there's marketing step number one, and it's free. Spending a little bit of money. Like Jennifer just said, business cards. Get business cards, go to gun shows, go to gun shops, go everywhere firearms related all around your area. Start off with a 20-mile radius and hit them all. Go to ranges. Hand out your cards. Tell people, hey, look, don't be afraid to walk up to somebody at the range when they're, busy, like wiping stuff off. Not while they're shooting. That's not too smart. But when they're just like the guns are down, you walk up, hey, if you ever need any help, here's my card. If you got something that goes wrong with your gun, then give me a call. I'll help you fix it up. Then let's go next step up. A lot of people think billboards are pretty expensive, and sometimes they can be, sometimes they can't, depending on the location. Billboards are a good one, but even better than that and a lot cheaper is a mobile billboard. And I'm not saying those trucks with the big flatbeds that change advertisements in Vegas. Those, don't do that. I'm talking about wrapping your vehicle. It can cost anywhere from, if you just want to get a side done and put a little vinyl wrap on your door, a few $100 to $3,000 and totally get your whole thing wrapped. The reason I'm talking about that is we did a study when I was at the job previous to SDI where billboards in Nashville on I-24 on average would get 120,000 unique impressions per day. That's a stationary billboard that people pass during, and this is during rush hour traffic. A mobile billboard driven through rush hour traffic would get 3 times that amount of impressions per day because you're constantly seeing it. It's driving in traffic with you. Everyone's seeing it all around you, and you're moving through many different cars. So when I say mobile billboard, you wrap your vehicle, all of a sudden you have a mobile billboard. I know a lot of people don't think that way. They just think, oh, cool, wrap vehicle. No, you got a billboard walking around. Just like when I put the patch in my beard, I just have a beard board.
And that's how you walk around all the time, right?
I do. I walk around with an SDI patch in my beard. But
I don't know that I would.
I may trademark that beard board.
Beard board. You can start renting your beard out.
Exactly.
I think it's important too we've talked about ROI a little bit and analytics, and now we're getting into kind of these how do you get the word out things. I think it's important to
Yep.
also establish a brand and a website, even at the most basic level. So before you
Yes.
wrap your vehicle, before you do any of that stuff, take the time or spend the money, and you can do it super cheap and templatey and, kind of dip your toe in the water a little bit first. You got to have a website. You got to have all of that set up so that you are presenting a professional look every time people try to find you. You got to put the word out on that front as well.
And part of the branding that you're going to do for your company, and this is where a lot of people miss on the marketing side, is psychology. Marketing is psychology. A lot of people don't realize that. It's knowing how a demographic is going to react to what you put out there. So if I am a gun company of some sort and I put out a video or my logo is me holding the gun, this is safe by the way, it's clear, with my finger right on the trigger, a lot of people in the gun community, if not hopefully the majority of them, are going to go nuts and going to be ticked off at your logo. So know what your demographic is going to react to. So logo-wise, like Jennifer said, it's very important on the branding side. When you have a logo, everybody knows now the SDI shield. So people see that. You can see this from a distance, and a lot of people are starting to go, oh, SDI. And they'll go to it and start talking to us about it. If I've got my shirt on or a hat on or something like that, people will recognize it from a distance. Either that or they think I'm a cop, which I'm not. So that's important. Having a logo that's recognizable, that's out there a lot. So don't have one logo on your business card, another one on your truck, another one on your business, just because you're wanting to try neat and cool things. Once you come up with something you like and you think people are going to react well to it, stick with it. It's got to be visually stimulating. It's got to be, not always, but there's ways you can make things emotionally stimulating. In the firearms world, you're going, how do you make firearms emotionally stimulating? Well, have you ever heard the Aaron Lewis song, Grandpa's Gun? So, I mean, there's a lot of emotional things attached to guns that you can use. And then even audibly stimulating. Right now, what I'm doing is not audibly stimulating at all. So don't do this. And then do you want to elaborate a little bit more on the branding side of things, Jennifer?
And it can be a little bit of a daunting task, I think. Before my work with SDI and even during those first couple months, I had a lot of clients that I managed that type of thing for, and it can be really confusing to start that process. So what I typically would tell people, especially if you're doing something for the first time, if you're LLCing for the first time and this is your first go at branding, start with things, and it's the same thing for the website. Give me like 4 or 5 adjectives that you want people to feel as soon as they look at that logo or website. Professional or modern or edgy, or, give me things like that. We'll kind of, you got to define the demographic first. So who you trying to talk to, ages, age, sex, socioeconomic status, are they active, are they inactive, what are they into, what are they interested in, and then tell me what the feels are behind it. So how do we want to make that feel? Do you want to present more of a classic look with clean edges? Do you want to present more of a manly or a distressed or a whatever look? You have to kind of break it down to that type of thing, like what Zeke was saying with the whole emotional end of the branding. And if you can define that, sit down and write out exactly what you're trying to get accomplished with that branding, a lot of times that'll help you kind of piece it together better. If you don't know what you're doing, definitely hire someone. Go on Elancer or whatever the case may be. What's this? What you got here?
Does that look familiar?
Oh, geez, yeah. For those of you who have been with us for a long time, we did, when we first started this, we were, a college with lots and lots of programs and had this kind of almost a throwaway logo, unfortunately, that was just columns. And it didn't,
Oh, it's bad.
It was bad. Yeah, it just, it was very boring. We went for a different thing at that point. The person who decided on that logo said, hey, listen, we're going for professionalism in college, and that's what we're focusing on, those two things.
Is that me popping or is that you popping?
I don't know. It might be, I don't know. Can you hear it now? I talk with my hands, so maybe I'm crunching up my papers on my desk or something like that.
It's like an electrical popping.
Oh, I don't think it's me. I can't hear it.
Oh.
Yeah. So, over the years, we have evolved into saying all of our people that we're trying to talk to the most are interested in the following things and react a certain way to the following things. So when you're talking about branding, it's important to kind of think about all of those things and come up with an organized way of doing that first. And then when you come up with a logo and a set, branding and all of that good stuff, put it everywhere. Business cards, if you're using paper documentation to tag firearms, put it on that type of thing. Any sign-in sheets, any promotional materials, anything that anybody's going to see, even down to the smallest little thing, get that branding on there. Make sure you're using the same fonts everywhere. Make sure you're using the same wording, when it comes to things. So that it is more important than you might think. But I would sit down and organize those thoughts before you, dive into any projects like that. So, you still having problems?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
I can't hear.
Yeah, you're a little bit quiet now. Try it again. Test that audio again. Can you hear me? He can't hear us. So while he's getting that figured out, and Zeke, pop in when you can you still hear me?
Okay, there we go.
Okay, there we go. You got it?
The audio is probably not as good, but I think it may have been my headphones that's popping and then I've completely fried.
Okay. Try to get as close as you can up there or turn anything you can up. You're just a little bit more quiet than we were before, so we may just need to get used to it. But oh yeah, and we are getting a couple people saying, "Oh, the sound's all messed up." So give me an audio test again.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can. Anybody else having problems still? I'll let you know what they say. But, we've had a couple people too, since we're talking about this startup stuff, Zeke. Couple people asked about, okay, good. People are audio-wise doing good. People have asked about how you get the demographics. And I have some thoughts on that, but I want to hear yours first. Like, how do you figure out? How do you know about demographics? How do you know who to talk to? So we have had actually a couple say stuff.
Yeah, part of that is the dartboard method that we talked about, but it's not all of that. The other part is doing the footwork, going out there and wearing holes in your shoes, finding out who is interested in what you do. Gunsmithing being our situation, you go to the gun shops, you go and you talk to the people that are into firearms, that need repairs, that need things done at the shops. You get your name out there in the shops, and then you start to learn your demographic by the people that are coming to you. You may start having all 19 through 27-year-old males come in, and all the females you have in are 40 to 50. So then your demographic is 19 to 27-year-old male, working. They're, not college educated, or they're college educated, or they're mostly one national origin. They have an income range. You gather all that data through talking to them. There's also, some people will go as far as to have people fill out surveys. That's one way. Jennifer has a lot of other ways she can talk about too.
Yeah, and just for people, this is we're going to shift just a little bit here, because one of the things we haven't talked about very much is online media, and I know that we're going to try to get to that.
Yeah, that's going to be the last thing I get to.
Yeah, one of the things that that I have found in my years of doing this is that Facebook, as much as I'm sure some people listening here are rolling their eyes right now, Facebook is actually kind of an interesting tool when it comes to demographics. A lot of what we do, if anyone has seen an ad, an SDI ad on Facebook, we set those up with a lot of background research first. So one of the things that you can do in Facebook is find some competitors, find some people that are doing things similar to you. Type in gunsmith shop Wyoming, type in things like repairing firearms into that Facebook search console right at the top there. And from there, see what those results are, jot them down if you need to, see what they're doing, click through, see what they're doing, and see what's interesting is you can also take a peek at their demographics, the people that like them. And if you click through, if you spend a little bit of time, and it may seem cumbersome, but this is stuff you can do over the weekends or, you know, in the evenings and stuff, just kind of putz around. Take a peek. You would be shocked at the similarities that some people have that you would have never thought. You know, so 90% of the people that are interested in this specific, you know, all these gunsmiths in New York or something like that. Well, that's a bad example, but Texas are also into.
There's a lot of
I know, well, I know, but I hate to use that because I know that we have some problems. Students are just, you know, they just are having a terrible time up there. So, you know, the people that like these same gunsmiths in the same area also really like Jason Aldean, or they also really like something completely off topic, but that may be a good demographic indicator. The correlations that that some businesses have as far as their demographic goes can be really interesting and kind of insightful when it helps you, and very helpful, I think, when defining who this person is that you're talking to, you know. So Facebook can be a good tool. Go and type in, if you know the name of a gun shop that's in your area that's booming, find them on Facebook, see who's following them and what they're interested in, and start honing from there. You know, that could be one of your, you know, one way of finding that. I'm not saying do that as your sole method of figuring out your demographic, but it may be something that that you hadn't thought of before that might be able to help you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many tools that we have. As one term I've heard before, I listen to a lot of marketing podcasts, and I hear one all the time that I love is marketeer. You know, as marketeers, you know, there's so many tools that you can utilize now with the internet.
Yep.
Just there's digital things that you can hop on and find out exactly what happened to the post you made 10 minutes ago.
Right.
So yeah, there's lots of ways to figure out your demographic, especially in the social media world. Heck, nowadays you can just start up your Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter, whatever, then start posting some ads, and within a matter of a month, you'll have a demographic created, and you'll know exactly who you reach out to.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
To where, you know, 20 years ago, you didn't have that.
Right.
You had to get out and do the groundwork, which I guess that's why I keep saying that, because I'm old. And
gosh. You still have to pound the pavement. Don't, guys, whoever's listening, don't make it, you know, don't let him make you think that he's not out there pounding the pavement, because we know he is.
When I get emails, hey, can you do this? I'm in Florida in the middle of a swamp with a manufacturer.
Right.
I can't.
Right. Yes. So that part is and always will be important, you know.
Yes.
We just have more tools now than we kind of ever have before. So that's the nice part.
And another thing, if you do outsource marketing people, or if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, or you hire people into your company that are marketing people, make sure you get good people. I was lucky that when I got brought on to do this job that we had Jennifer already in place, even though we didn't have her full-time yet. We had to beg. Right. But she knows her stuff, and that's important. That goes back to the 3 Ps. If you have the right people, you really won't have to worry about it. You'll just have to give a little bit of input, and everything else will take care of itself if they know what they're doing. But you got to make sure that you weed through those people that are like, oh, I'm a marketing professional, and then they just start taking pictures of stuff and putting cool logos on it. Right. And they don't realize the rest of it that goes into it, the psychology behind it.
They focus on SEO, and they try to glamour you with all these, you know, SEO tactics and things like that. You can really get yourself in a lot of money for absolutely no return, you know, when you're talking about that type of thing. So
absolutely. So as far, another thing I wanted to talk about as we kind of wrap up is some of the marketing and media methods that are working in our industry now, starting with print media. That's the tough one because it's such a classic media outlet in the firearms industry. I mean, I still have stacks of guns and ammo that I've only read half of. But let's be completely honest and blunt. We're hopefully all adults here. Where do most of your magazines end up? In your toilet area. So when is the last time you were sitting in your toilet area, you read a good article, and you said, hey, I'm going to mail this article to my buddy? You don't.
Right.
But with online media, whether it's Facebook, a blog, a YouTube video, a podcast, you can be doing the same thing sitting in your toilet area and send that link to every contact you have instantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's killing print media now, is just because it's so much easier to do it on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. All this stuff is so quick, easy, fast, and instant that print media is slowly dying. So don't spend a lot of your money on print media unless you're in a smaller area where the local newspaper and the classifieds are a big deal.
Right.
That's a print media that's still valid, especially in our world, because if you're in a rural, I mean, I'm in Tennessee, I'm outside of Nashville, but I'm still basically Nashville, but I'm really close to some rural areas where I grab the little local paper all the time. And I'll go to the classified ads because they still put ads for guns in there. So you can throw a little classified ad, gunsmith, can help fix, repair guns, anything like that. So that's about the only small one print-wise that's still pretty viable.
Right.
You've got TV. TV is slowly starting to come around to the digital age. The problem is, up until recently, channels for our industry, like the Outdoor Channel, Sportsman, Pursuit Channel, they didn't have any on-demand. They didn't have any online offerings. So if you put an ad on the Outdoor Channel on a hunting show, and then you took that show, and when it aired, that ad was gone forever. Are you still there?
Yep.
It sounded like my sound. Oh, okay. I thought my sound went out. So once your ad's been seen on one of those channels, it's gone forever because there was no on-demand, there's no digital. I think a couple of those have started an on-demand service, so that's helping a little bit revamp the whole TV world.
Mm-hmm.
Radio is still good, especially because if you're a gunsmith, until you really build your business up, you're not going to be getting a lot of multi-state business. Not to mention it's a headache to, transfer firearms across state lines. So you're pretty much going to be marketing to a 20 to 30 mile radius. There's a lot of small local radio stations that a lot of people still listen to. Talk radio is really good.
Yep.
Music radio, everybody has pretty much a Jack FM in the bigger markets. And what that is, they've just taken music, put it on a server. There's no more DJs at those stations. It's all computerized. So talk radio, you can get people endorsing you. You can get people talking about how good a job you did engraving their grandfather's old Browning shotgun, something like that. Then you also have the digital classifieds. We talked about the print. There's digital classifieds now. Arms List is one of them. Craigslist, you can kind of advertise services for guns. You can't sell guns on Craigslist, but you can kind of get around it with services, which is what gunsmithing is. It's a service. Then Jennifer kind of touched on it already. Social media. Social media is huge, and for the most part, it's free. If you're smart with it on Facebook and you do some ads, you will pay a little bit of money, but compared to what you would pay in some of the classic media, radio and TV, it's a fraction of the cost for the amount of impressions and the amount of views and the amount of follows that you'll get. One of my favorite social media sites out there, if you have a product, it's a little tougher when you have a service, and schools we're kind of a service industry. But if you have a product and you have Instagram, if you don't have an Instagram and you have a product, you're wrong. Fix it. Because here's what it is. And people on here, people that are watching this recorded, you won't be able to see this. But you take your phone, you take a picture, you type a few lines, boom, 5,000 people just saw that for nothing.
Right. Right.
So,
and we're talking visuals, which are statistically speaking, way, way, way higher converters in general than print would be,
Exactly.
And it's all image. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a partner of ours, Savoy Leather. He's one of the, he's the best leather holster maker out there. hands down. I'll put him up against Galco or anybody else. When it comes to artistic stuff, he's it. He built his business on Instagram, taking pictures of the cool artwork he was putting on leather holsters and just making it amazing, and just boom, everybody was following him. Every time he put something up new, he sold 10 more of them, just for taking pictures. That's it. And it was all free.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, another thing, it's not always all free. You can do a lot of trading in the marketing world. Mm-hmm. So you have someone like Savoy Leather, and you see he's got a huge following. Build a relationship with that person and help them out, and they'll help you out. So if I want to, like for instance, when I had Talking Lead, I'd send people out T-shirts and hats and all kinds of swag from Talking Lead. We'd give them plugs on the show in exchange for them helping us out on the social media world. And it's kind of a, we started calling it, we even hashtagged it Bros Helping Bros kind of thing. But it's one of those industries too where you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Mm-hmm. It's also one of those industries where if you stop scratching people's back, you'll be shunned instantly. So it's tough. But helping people out that are like-minded and the same type of people, it's the way to go. So you can trade stuff on social media for them pushing you and helping you out. Mm-hmm. Another thing, YouTube. YouTube, what a lot of people don't realize, is the second largest search engine behind Google.
Yep.
Coincidentally, they're owned by Google. But how many times have you gone to fix your car, fix a refrigerator, look at a new gun, anything, and you've Googled a YouTube video of it? If you think about that, you're like, oh my God, yeah, it really is behind Google. In fact, I go to YouTube sometimes before I go to Google to look up stuff. The big thing you have to be careful when you're marketing on YouTube is, especially in the firearms industry, you have to make sure you get the right people that are talking about and partnering with you to talk about your product. Because in the firearms industry, as evidence from last week, the incident that happened with the guy, the tannerite, and the lawnmower, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up tannerite lawnmower. The guy is shooting a AR at a lawnmower full of tannerite. It blows up. A piece of the lawnmower chops his leg off. Not smart. Those are the people you don't want to market to, right, or market with on YouTube. And there's a lot of them. So make sure you do your due diligence. And when I say that, I mean look at as many of those videos as these people have. See if there's anything that doesn't fit with your philosophy, with your mission statement as a business, and don't go with them. Go with people that are. We didn't go with 22 Plinkster, Hickok, Military Arms Channel just because they were big and had followings. There's other YouTube channels that are just as big, but we're not going with them for other reasons. Mm-hmm. We went with them because of what they stood for and what they did, and it blended perfectly with the SDI mission statement.
And how they presented themselves too. You know, it is, at the end of the day, everybody's here because they want to have a business. You know, this isn't just because you're goofing off and having a good time and all that, you know, all that good stuff. Everybody that we partner with, you know, has fun, but is professional, aligns with, you know, with our ideals. So.
Well, and that's another thing. Part of marketing is going to be your mission statement. Our mission at SDI is to change people's lives. Yes, when it comes down to it, it's still a business like anything else, mm-hmm, but we want to be able to make people believe in themselves to start their own business in gunsmithing, to take a passion that they already have and turn it into a career. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's not. I did it with this job. You know, I was working in a corporate job making a great paycheck, and I wanted to do something that I'm passionate in. And now that I'm doing it and we're growing, it's the funnest thing in the world. It's a lot of work, but it's a blast. So make sure you have a passion for what you're doing, and you do it for the right reasons. You don't do it because you're trying to get rich. You're trying to buy the next big, you know, Hummer H1 tricked out with all these rims. You know, you're trying to make a difference in the world. The good thing is, in the firearms industry, we're all trying to make a difference with the Second Amendment. We're all trying to make sure we're able to keep these rights in a responsible way. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing I'll kind of talk about as far as marketing methods is the unorthodox stuff. You know, perfect example. Once again, people aren't watching it live, don't get to see this, but unorthodox stuff like the beard board.
The beard board.
Yeah, anything you can do to catch people's eye. We had a guy that used to work for us. I'll use him as an example. he was brilliant. He had a service dog, and he started putting a vest on the service dog that had the hook and loop Velcro sides. So he was able to start putting all kind of patches and stuff all over it. Well, when you see a service dog art, what's the first thing you look at? You don't look at the handler. You look straight at the dog. Oh my God, it's a beautiful dog. He was brilliant. Great idea.
Yep.
So the unorthodox things, if you see something that is getting a lot of people's attention in the demographic that you've discovered, go to it and figure out a way to do something with it.
Yep.
Our president right now has jumped all over this idea that at first I was kind of like, Snapchat, because Snapchat originally started off as this way you could take pictures and they disappear. You know,
Right.
it was kind of shady. But it's become like another Instagram kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have these things called geotags. And what that is say you're at the Nashville Convention Center, and I create a geotag for SDI, and you're taking pictures on Snapchat at a convention there, it'll pop up this little thing that says, hey, would you like to use one of these templates? And you'll be able to put an SDI template over it. So it's actually a really cool idea, and it's very unorthodox, but it's something that I think could benefit a great deal as it grows.
Yeah, and
So,
it's one of millions of these ideas I feel like that we've been bouncing around for the last 4 or 5 years. It's important to never stay stagnant. And same thing with the darts on the board. It just is it cool? Is it interesting? Is it something that might work? Then explore it. And if it doesn't work, then don't do it anymore. But at least try to find some innovation. When you're thinking about how to get the marketing side of your business done. It's more fun to do it that way, and I feel like people are more successful if they're okay with thinking outside the box and kind of keeping the foot on the gas, when it comes to that type of thing, spitting out ideas and all that good stuff.
And kind of back to the social media stuff, including the YouTube. Remember, it's all psychology. If you look at the numbers, our demographic, the firearms industry, is reacting to YouTube. We've got this guy named Hickok45. He's this old teacher that has become the Google of guns. And it's amazing what these guys have been able to do. I mean, a lot of them have better equipment now, but they're starting off with a handy cam and coming up with great stuff.
Right.
If you have a creative mind, you can start a YouTube channel yourself for your gunsmith shop. And go out there and start putting up videos of you repairing guns. And if you've got a great personality, it may catch on. If you're talking like we warned you not to talk earlier, it may not.
And if and if you do have the type of voice that we're the boring type of voice, or you're not necessarily a super dynamic person, that is okay. That is okay.
Yep.
We'll just find something else. You know what I mean? Just know your strengths.
There are things that I've watched on YouTube where it's the most boring person in the world, but the subject is so interesting, I watch it anyways.
Right.
And we're back to
the
catching people's eye thing.
Right.
Look at that grip. That's just beautiful right there.
Yeah. We've had a couple little odds and ends questions here. Things like,
go for it.
Chamber of Commerce. What's your opinion on the chamber, on doing stuff with the chamber? And I'll find a couple extra ones too. Yeah, there are a couple of these that are looking for.
With the Chamber of Commerce, with the Chamber of Commerce, it depends on how tight-knit your community is. The Nashville Chamber of Commerce has become more of a corporation. We're a big city. You go down south to Murfreesboro, it's only 100,000 people, maybe a little bit more now. And their Chamber of Commerce is amazing. When I had I forgot to mention, I had my own medical supply company too. But when I had that, I joined the Chamber of Commerce, and I would go to the dinners and the meetings afterwards, and I'd meet a ton of people connected in the medical field that I was able to go and work with just from going to these little mixers that the Chamber of Commerce would have. It's a great way to meet people in business in your area that would probably help you out, same way that we were talking about in social media where you're helping each other out. Chamber of Commerce work the same way.
And same thing with any networking types of associations. Do your research and everything, but, for example, the Texas State Rifle Association is somebody that we do some advertising with, and one of the people that does our press releases is involved with them. And it's great to, especially if you can find things like that, rifle associations or an association that would align closely with with the industry. Those are the types of things you want to go to. If it's not going to be too expensive to pay your dues for a year and go hobnob with people, write it off as a business expense and give it a shot for a year. Certainly wouldn't hurt.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think those things are good. You just have to be price conscious. Some of those things can get a little bit crazy, but I think.
And remember too, when you're building the relationships, whether it's through the chamber, whether it's through social media, YouTube, through print media, through digital media, if you do start off giving away some services in exchange for some advertising, at some point, if you're going to maintain a relationship with that media outlet, you're going to have to pay. And remember that. Because there was a meme that came out recently from one of the media groups. I think it was the Gun Collective, and it showed a picture of a guy going to a manufacturer. He said, "Hey, I just made something in media for you. Can I receive payment?" The manufacturer says, "Sure. Here's some cool stuff." "Gee, thanks." Then the guy goes to a hot dog stand. "Hey, I would like to buy 5 hot dogs. Do you take cool stuff?" And then the hot dog stand guy says, "Bleep you."
Yeah. Nice.
and so it's neat and it's cool. It's a good way to start off that relationship. But if you start to see results from it, make sure you take care of them financially too, because there's a lot of time that they put into doing what they did for you that caused results.
And I know that we're pretty much out of time here, but when we're talking about measuring these things, the success of the dollars that you're putting in, it's really important to have that side of the infrastructure set up, and it may not be something that you would think of right off the bat. So whether that's a landing page that they direct their people to, so if you're advertising with a specific magazine and you say, hey, go to my website, jennifermckinnis.com/ Jennifer's magazine. You have something set up at some sort of tracking system, either on your request more information form on your website, have that as a drop-down option, or build these landing pages so that, use a promo code. That can be an easy way to do it. If you put in promo code Zeke, then I know that you came from, Zeke Stout.
We'll charge you more if you put that promo code in.
Right. Yeah, that's a surefire way to not get a discount on anything. But
we'll charge you.
Just make sure that you have those tracking devices set in place, or else truly, how could you possibly know whether you're getting any leads, regardless of whether these leads become then actual clients? You got to be able to track it from that ground step as well. Just wanted to throw that out there, but I do have one last question, because we are kind of out of time here. This is kind of a cool question. You can choose to answer both parts of this question, or just
I
one?
will rip my beard out to anyone that would like me to put their patch on there.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I don't even have to read the question then. Okay, so here's the question. There are 2 questions. What are some of the most challenging aspects to marketing firearms, number 1, and which are some of the best opportunities that we have that others don't, like us in the firearms industry have, that others don't?
Probably one of the most challenging aspects of marketing firearms is the demographic itself. I'm not throwing a jab at our demographic, because I'm one of them. It's all the little things. Like I said, once again, I'll make sure it's clear. Putting your finger on the trigger in a picture. Horrible idea. You will get blasted left and right. Stuff like that where sometimes you don't even catch it. You're filming a video with, like I'm filming a video with Kip Carpenter, and he says something that's just slightly off that may be taken the wrong way as far as like the anti-gun versus pro-gun. And it's like, whoa, you said that wrong. We got to say it like this. He didn't mean it in an anti-gun way. It just comes off a little bit that way.
Right.
And of course, we're all constantly on edge wanting to protect that Second Amendment right. That it's like, oh my gosh, wait, whoa, what did he just say? Right. And we're all trying to make sure that the image out there of firearms professionals is always positive and always in a positive light, and not stupid and pointing the gun at people and disobeying the 4 simple firearms rules.
Right.
That's probably the trickiest thing, because sometimes you'll have people that are pro-gun, but they're not really gun people, and sometimes you might get them involved in a video or something and they do something a little off, and you're like, oh, so you have to either reshoot it if you catch it, or if you don't catch it, you got to reschedule and everything. That's probably the biggest hassle of all of it. And what was the other question?
Which are some of the best opportunities that we have in the firearms industry that others don't?
As far as gunsmithing goes?
Well, I think marketing, the ways that you can market this industry that maybe some other industries don't have the luxury of doing. Maybe the unique, you know?
Well, I think one of the coolest things about this industry is they have totally and completely embraced social media.
Mm-hmm.
There's other industries. I was talking to my wife. She works in software development. And there's really not a whole lot a software developer can do on Facebook and YouTube. I mean, to sit there and do a YouTube video about coding a new software, I doubt many people are going to
now, sorry anybody out there who's a coder, because because they do exist.
I'm sure, but it's not as cool as watching somebody take a 308 and blow up a Tannerite.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of really cool and fun opportunities you have with the firearms industry, and because of what it is, you know, growing up in the United States, we watch movies with guns. We play video games with guns. We see all the Westerns and all the war movies. And if you have an AR-15 on your truck that says ABC Gunsmithing underneath it, you're going to be at a gas station. People are like, "Ooh, what's that?" When I had my truck wrapped talking lead, people would always come up. First, they'd ask what kind of ammo I sold. I'm like, "No, it's a show." So, but you have these opportunities.
That's a good. That's a good.
Because there's something intense and cool about guns that makes people want to go, "Hey, what is that? That looks cool. That looks neat." So there's a lot of big opportunities, especially in the social. Oh my God, yeah, that big long Santa Claus gun. That's funny. What was the part of that question that I thought about? The gunsmithing side.
Right.
As far as gunsmithing goes, for marketing, and this is something Kip and I were talking about. We were filming a video this week on the reloading program, and we were talking about the opportunities that gunsmiths have coming out of our program. And as you're coming out, or if you're already a gunsmith, I want you to think right now, 20 minutes from your house, how many gunsmiths do you know? And I'll give you like 2 seconds to think about it.
Me personally?
I guarantee you, yeah, anybody. No, everybody that's listening.
Right.
I guarantee you,
yeah, I had
they all fit on one hand or less.
Yep. That's right.
Kip and I were discussing it, and I know there's a ton more gunsmiths, but gunsmiths that I know in the entire country, probably 20.
Yeah.
You know, that I know personally, and that I know I can send anybody there and then go. I know there's a lot. Don't jump on me for this. I know there's a lot more that are good. I'm just saying that I know personally.
Sure.
So there's a huge opportunity. There's over 300 million guns in this country. So there's a huge opportunity and a huge market for you to go out in the gunsmithing industry and attack your little area first. Don't go out and try to be a multinational company right off the bat. Attack your 20-mile radius first. Once you perfect that, then start growing out. And that's probably the biggest opportunity as a gunsmith.
Well, and I think a lot, you know, as you were saying, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gunsmiths, right? And only a small percentage of them are doing what they could be doing to promote their businesses. So if the people that come out of our programs or the people who are listening to this webinar take any pieces of what we've done, you know, all you have to do is be 10% better than the next guy, you know? So do any of these things, you know, set yourself up with even the most baseline stuff and you're already doing better than 90% of the gunsmithing population.
And if you think about it, too, when you think about that, how many are within 20 minutes of you? If there's 2 other guys and you're already a gunsmith, embrace them, work together with them, because here's what's going to happen. There's very few gunsmiths in a concentrated area that they're going to have overflow work.
Right. And
so if you have a good relationship with your quote-unquote competitors, you're going to get their overflow work. So don't say, oh, there's a gunsmith 10 minutes down the road from me, I'm going to kick his butt. You want to be better. You always want to strive to be better, but you also want to have a good relationship because you never know. He may get awesome and start getting a ton of overflow work and need to send it somewhere, and you want to hope it's you, or vice versa. You want to have somebody that you can send your overflow work to.
And that in and of itself answers the question as far as the uniqueness goes. Because you won't see that, in medical sales, my husband's medical sales. It's not like if he's got a huge workload, he's not sending it to the next sales rep. You know what I mean? You just kind of muddle through it. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in this industry to kind of lean on each other, and build these bridges, and kind of everybody involved comes out on top then. So that is pretty unique. So I think
Any more questions pop up?
I think that's it. We're good. Oh,
Awesome.
I just got a Roll Tide. Figured I'd send that your way.
Yeah, my wife went to Alabama and her dad played for Bear Bryant. So.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
I went to my first Alabama game this year. So.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to Alabama LSU, which was amazing.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm actually a Longhorn, but I got to stick with the Tide too.
I know. I'm a Buckeye, so everybody knows me. But.
Yeah, especially these guys.
Oh, no, thank you. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and post this link over the next couple days. If you do have any questions that you didn't think of, or maybe you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked Zeke this question, shoot them my way, jennifer@sdi.edu, or webinar at SDI.
If they wake up at 2 in the morning, it's going to be because they're going to have nightmares of this webinar, my voice.
With your beard board, yeah.
They're going to be like, oh, God, Zeke.
No more beard. Yeah, so keep an eye out over the next couple days, but for sure, shoot us a quick email if you think of anything that you'd like any follow-up on. We'd be, happy to get that information from Zeke, and we might even do a follow-up of this type of thing. It is a lot of stuff to talk about when you're talking about marketing a business. So we may have a follow-up to this in a couple months, but again, if you need any information on anything, this webinar or other webinars or the school in general, shoot us an email or visit the website, sdi.edu, and keep an eye out over the next couple days for the link to this webinar. Audio only, of course. So thanks again for attending.
No.
What?
I was going to say, yeah, the audio only. Nobody will get the beard board.
That's right. No beard board. Sorry, guys who are tuning in after.
Oh, you're ending with that picture.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it came up. Well, thanks everybody for show the dance pic again. Someone says that your jig picture.
No.
I think this is a good one to end on. I wish I could make it like Zoom. Right.
Hey, and it's perfect marketing. I designed that shirt because I had an unorthodox moment when I went to get some board games for my kids at Goodwill, and I saw Operation, and I was like, ooh, Operator. Oh, wait a minute.
Too funny. Nice. I'm going to keep that up for the remainder of the webinar. So. All right, guys, everybody have a good night, and let us know if we can answer any questions. And I thank you for attending. We will have another webinar at the end of next month, and so keep an eye on the Facebook page, and if you're on our email list as well, and you get the newsletters and all that, there will be information in those on the next upcoming webinar too. So thanks, everybody, and everybody have a good night. Thanks, Zeke.
Thanks.
Have a good night. See ya.